Let's see what he does now. Yes, come through there. There's a good fellow. Isn't that cool? There's a sparrow just above him going toot toot toot. Do we all agree that this is quarantine? Do you agree, VMP? You're not so sure?
No, I said it looks like one.
Yeah.
And that one has also got a scar on his back.
And this guy doesn't, you mean?
No, I haven't seen him.
Ah, well, that'll do very nicely.
Yeah, I'm not so sure.
I'm not so sure either. I'm not convinced this leopard's the same size.
I don't think it is.
He's 1, 2, 3 spots on the... could be considered 3 on the left. And a very distinct scar. And he's 2 on this side. Louise, I think I'm obviously not getting your comms at all at the moment. Yeah, I've spent so little time with quarantine. What do you think, then?
I don't think it is.
You don't think it is? I'm going to move slightly forward. I think this leopard's too small. Yeah, Lou, I'm afraid I'm getting nothing from you. My phone is on if you want to try and get me on WhatsApp. So everyone, we do have some problems. So we have a message from Louise concurring that this is Xivambalana, who I have not seen before. That's really awesome. So that's Xivambalana, new leopard for me. 3-2 spot pattern. That's quite an unusual spot pattern. 3-2 spot pattern. 3 on the left, 2 on the right. That's fantastic. Now Xivambalana is who?
His brother.
He's Quarantine's older brother, hey? Well, I don't think he's as big as Quarantine. Do you? And Vem's agreeing with me. So he is now oh no, they've had that standoff, haven't they? Now, Xivambalana, of course, is now probably 6. No wonder he's being territorial. This is very interesting. Maybe I'm underestimating this fellow's size, but I don't think he's as big as Quarantine. We'll try and follow him through here. It might get a little bit hairy. We should get through. Yes, that was pretty easy. Okay, Louise is now communicating via means of WhatsApp. That's quite amazing that we're able to do that, but we cannot get a radio signal. Something tells me that's not quite right. Something is amiss. Right. Okay, while we're following through here, we're going to link across to Byron and see what's happening with the lions, and we'll see you when he settles. We're live. Hello everybody. We're here in the Cheetah Plains with Xivambalana, and I'm sorry about our comms issues. We will sort them out eventually. He's stalking towards the Mala boundary where there are some buffalo drinking at a pan. I think it's highly unlikely that he will try and eat one of them, but I'm just going to get round the front of him again. This is a wonderful sighting of a brand new leopard for me. I know many of you have seen him before. Please excuse my phone. It's the only way I can talk to Louise at the moment. So we're just going to leave it right there on the top of the dashboard so that she might communicate with me if you have any questions or comments, especially those of you who have a little bit of experience of this fellow. Just get a little bit around the front here. Give him a nice opportunity to film him. He's walking straight towards those buffalo. That was a message coming through, everyone. Michael, you say Xivambalana has a 2-2 spot pattern. You see, I think that could well be him. The three that I did see, one is almost completely indistinct. So yeah, I still think it is Xivambalana. There are two very obvious spots on either side. There's one very, very, very small one that I suppose could easily be argued was a whisker mark rather than an actual spot. There, the buffalo, you can just see in the distance in the front of us. And unfortunately, we're about to hit the boundary, everybody. But that's okay. We've had a wonderful sighting of it. Well, I know that you haven't had a very long sighting with him. He might come down to this water here to drink, so let's take a chance. See if he doesn't. By the Queen to look left and right before he crosses the road. And thank you, yes, Robin, you're just confirming that he was the litter before Djuma in quarantine, born November 2010, which puts him at exactly 6 years old as of 2 days' time. Now, this is not a big leopard. This is not a big 6-year-old. Go on, have a drink. This is so cool. Now, why I say he's not big, look at him, he's just checking to see if there isn't something in that little culvert, is if you look at his head, I mean, when I initially saw him, I thought that's fairly large female. And his head, he's got no dewlap, which means that that flap of skin underneath his chin is still quite firm, which is unusual for a male of 6. But it's his father Mvula. I think his father is Mvula. Mvula doesn't have much of a dewlap either. And Mvula also isn't very large. But that's him going into Male Male, I'm afraid. Shame there was a Male Male ranger here just fairly recently, and he was looking about as desperate as we were. Unfortunately, he's not around here anymore, so I can't tell him. Now, come on, turn around and give us a nice shot of yourself with that beautiful stick in the background. Isn't he lovely? At the end of the lens, Vim. There you got a bit more. Vim's keeping his powder dry, everybody. Yeah. It's all got quite big feet, you know. So he'll do a bit more growing, he'll fill out a bit, he'll probably reach his maximum mass at about 7, so only in about a year's time. But I mean, I would call him the territorial male here, probably heading east into Kruger, north into Nkoro, but quite a long way east into Kruger, and of course he's next to Tingana's territory. And I guess this would be the far eastern regions of Tingana's territory. Lacey, you want to know if he has sired cubs before. I don't know for sure, and I don't know that anyone could know for sure, because his territory now covers, I suppose, the eastern fringes of, interestingly, Nkanyeni's territory. I don't know who the father of her cubs is. I don't think it's this fellow. I think it's Tingana as well. If it isn't Tingana, it's most likely him. But they do start breeding around about this time, Lacey. As soon as they become territorial, they will start breeding. But because his territory, I think, extends quite a long way, probably south into Male Male and east into the Kruger, there could well be female leopards that he has covered there that we don't know about. But he's certainly being very territorial now. He's marking his territory. Well, that was marvellous. Very nice. Well, what we'll do now, I think, is probably head back towards Djuma along the southern boundary of Male Male and just see if maybe Nkanyeni and Quarantine aren't somewhere around here. Very cool indeed. That will also, of course, give us some more radio communications. There we go. We have nothing further from Louise Pavid at this stage. Good. That was a nice surprise, wasn't it, Viam? Yes.